All right, let's get this show started.
Recent photos of Sean Strickland have been circulating online, catching quite a bit of attention. After the UFC shared images from a recent photo shoot for UFC 312, fans noticed a mark on Strickland's arm, sparking speculation that it might be a staph infection. Dricus du Plessis even reposted this photo to his Instagram stories, jokingly writing, "What? He grew taller and added staph infection to his arsenal? Oh shit." During the UFC 312 pre-fight press conference, Sean addressed the rumors and in classic Strickland style, denied the potentially fight-jeopardizing rumor.
Sean, do you have staph infection and are you healthy coming into this fight?
Listen, you motherfuckers, I'm immune to staph.
Oh, we cut it off.
You see this fucking mustache? I give staph, I don't fucking get staph. Calm the fuck down. I don't get sick, I don't get fucking injured, and I don't get fucking staph, so relax. I'm gonna be out there on Sunday and I'm gonna come out fucking hard and strong. The hardest and strongest you've ever fucking seen. To the fucking death, Dutch man.
Kevin Lee wants answers after leaked sparring footage shows him nearly getting knocked out. On Tuesday, a clip went viral showing Kevin at Kill Cliff FC, where he faced a rough knockdown from Azerbaijani MMA fighter Merali Husseinov. In response to the viral clip, Kevin shared his thoughts, writing, "I don't know who posted that video or why, but I'm heading right now to find out. I can only blame myself for showing mercy and pulling my knee back, but it's training, so I thought, let me not blast him. I see I shouldn't have been playing around with a guy like that. Since motherfuckers want to start showing sparring, I'm gonna start showing sparrings from now on." Merali Husseinov, the fighter who almost knocked Kevin out, is also not thrilled with the leak. In a video posted to his social media, Husseinov clarified what really happened during their sparring session.
Just I want to try explain what's going on there. He's my favorite partner because we always work each other hard. The hard work always easy paid when you fight. That's our point. That was not my point. Hit him hard. That's fly knee coming. What should I do? Should wait and check that's light or hard? What do you think, guys? He's my favorite partner. We always work hard, and after work I say him, brother, like everything good. He hit me hard, I hit him hard. I just didn't want like this situation happen, but can happen everyone. This like even though this is part of that big part of our game, or training, or MMA, like that's normal for athletes.
Despite being weight classes above him, Jeremy Stephens says he'd still be down to fight Platinum Mike Perry in the future if the price is right. Now, on his Overdogs podcast, Perry responded, saying he'd also be open to fighting Stephens, revealing that the two already have a little bit of history. He then shared these details from their past altercation.
Jeremy Stephens, man, he's a little guy. I pushed him to the floor before at the UFC athlete retreat.
What happened on that one?
We were at the Snoop Dogg concert, and Snoop Dogg was throwing in the crowd, and all the UFC fighters were like packing in to get Jeremy bumped me or something, or he was talking. I pushed his little ass one time and he fell on the floor, and Tyson Pedro was like, "No, mate, don't do it. It's not worth it." He getting me off him. I didn't do nothing. I just shoved him like a baby. So imagine a bare knuckle fight.
Joe Rogan has revealed more info as to why he couldn't interview Kamala Harris during the election. Last week, the book Fight Inside the Wildest Battle for the White House claimed that Rogan put up several obstacles to deter Harris from setting up an interview with him. This included blindsiding the vice president by scheduling an interview with Trump on the Friday that her team tried to get her on the show. However, on the most recent episode of the JRE podcast, Rogan called BS on the book's claims, revealing that he had already flown in his friends to watch the Ilya Topuria vs. Max Holloway fight later that day, also offering Kamala the option to come in and do the podcast in the morning. 3 interesting fights have been announced for upcoming UFC events. First up, Kevin Holland is looking to bounce back, returning to the welterweight division. He'll be taking on Gunnar Nelson at UFC Fight Night 255 on March 22nd, taking place at the O2 in London. Another fight announced is Bobby Green vs. Mauricio Ruffy, set for UFC 313 on March 8th. Green has gone 1-2 in his last 3 fights and is coming off a submission loss to Paddy Pimblett from back at UFC 304. Meanwhile, Ruffy is riding a 6-fight win streak following a decision victory over James Goku Lanta. The third fight hasn't been made official yet, but is in the works. Mateusz Gamrot is looking to take on Brian Ortega at 155 pounds, with the location and date yet to be determined. Two big fights have also been canceled. Former bantamweight champion Dominic Cruz will not be making his return to action at UFC Seattle against Rob Font, in which was supposed to be Cruz's final fight. According to reports, Cruz suffered some kind of injury, but the details have been kept hidden. Additionally, MMA Fighting senior reporter Damon Martin reported that Brandon Royval is out of his upcoming fight with Manel Kape, writing, "Bad news. Brandon Royval reveals that he's out of his upcoming fight against Manel Kape in March. No words on the injury or how long he'll be sidelined. Obviously disappointing because that was a tremendous matchup." Anthony Smith is no longer co-hosting the Believe You Me podcast with Michael Bisping. He's been replaced by former UFC fighter Paul Felder, leaving fans curious about what happened to Smith. Bisping recently shed some light on the situation, revealing that Anthony stopped responding to him entirely after his loss to Dominic Reyes at UFC 310. He left the podcast without any explanation. Adding to the surprise, Bisping found out through social media that Smith had launched his own podcast. Now, on his On Paper podcast, Smith has finally addressed the situation, sharing his side of the story.
First of all, Michael Bisping and I have no beef. We're good. If I seen him, we dap it up and hug and have a beer at some point, I'd imagine. I love Paul Felder. I really, really enjoy Paul. I think he's incredible at what he does. I think he's an amazing voice in the MMA space. But first, as many people to say that Paul Felder is an upgrade and that I absolutely suck at what I do, I don't know what the problem is then. If I was so bad on the show and did such a bad job, I don't know why everyone's so angry about it that I'm not on it anymore. The reason this podcast got off the ground so quickly when I decided to do it was because it was always Michael's idea that I do my own thing on the side as well. That it's not like I was just had this thing ready, in secret, ready to fire off. He's the one who put those wheels in motion.
Smith then explained when things began to fall apart and why he really left the BYM podcast.
There for a while, it was 2 days a week. Well, it started off 1 day a week, then it went to 2 days a week. And the second day, one was hard enough. And then the second day was almost impossible. So then it went back to 1 day. And there's 4 of us that are on the show. It's me, Brian Harrington, and Michael. That's 3 people. That's 4 people in 3 different time zones. It was just hard. It was just hard. And we really fought our way through it and made it work for a really long time. And I had a whole lot of fun. But at times it was tough, especially when I was in training camp. And I know that was always super frustrating. I'm a really bad communicator. Some of it is I don't know. I'm just not a great communicator. I say that because there has been times where Michael has gotten frustrated or upset where, I didn't communicate oh shit, I'm in a different country, or I just go and sometimes I can't look any further than my hand in front of my face. And then a lot of things get missed and I forget about them. I get distracted and I didn't do a good enough job at times of communicating. I never argued that. I always agreed that anytime you had a problem with it, you're right. We have the same routine where, every Sunday or Monday before the Sunday afternoon, Sunday evening, or Monday morning, Mike sends a message in the group text because there's a whole bunch of us in a different time zone. Hey, when are we gonna be on the show? When's everyone's schedule? That is the same routine. And then it just stopped. It's his show. If you want me to be on your show, then that, and that's how my brain worked. If you want me on the show, then he'll reach out. And he just didn't. So I had no animosity. There was no anger. There was no I don't know. I still love Mike and I still love Paul. There was nothing. It was just they had been on doing their thing for several weeks. It seemed to be going really well. And I just assumed the BYM moved on from Anthony, and that's fine.
Time for today's top memes. Third place was posted by MMA Fan. Second place was posted by Robert. And the top pick was posted by Old Enough. Thanks for watching. If you like the content, smash that like button and don't forget to subscribe to stay in the talk.